Interview program on Zoom. We're all together. We're communities of people coming together, which I really, really love. And for those that are new to this platform, thank you for pushing through your technological resistance and making it here. It's great, and I'm thrilled and happy to see you. You have controls that you know. You can submit questions through the chat room. Marsha's going to be helping us. Scott's going to be helping us. And you can also find ways to raise your hand if you go into participants. There are so many options. So look around, but come to listen. So let's start with knowing where you are. Took me a while to understand the IJKL, and then one day Kim sang it to me. She's like, Liz, it's really easy. Just sing the alphabet. H-I-J-K-L-M-N-O, I-J-K. It's just right there in the alphabet. And once you sing it, you will know where you are. Institute, I-J-K-L, Institute of Jewish Knowledge and Learning. So I'm glad you've got it. You can meet them online at ijkl.org, and the programs are phenomenal. Kim, I just want to acknowledge, like right off the bat, that you jumped in and was able to collect your community and create for them an opportunity to come together. You had the Passover Zoom, you jumped right in. So really beautiful, beautiful job. And we'll talk more about, all that inspired you to do that. I'm your host, Liz Sterling. I don't know all of you, so it's great to meet you. I have a website, askliz.com. It's an easy website. And if you want to send me a question or interact or converse, liz@askliz.com is my email address. So now we're all connected, and we're ready to have meaningful conversation. I spent almost 22 years in radio broadcasting. Radio meant behind the scenes. I was behind a microphone and I was never seen. And this is a whole new medium of being front and center, as we all are. We're showing ourselves and we're showing up. So I love being here. It's new. I have to tell you, I had tons of papers and intros and things to say and what to write for the introduction. And I went, no. What are we learning? We are learning how important it is to be in the moment, to allow spontaneity, to make it fun and easy. I don't have to prepare something to say. I think we're all learning that whatever we need and require, it's right here for us in this very beautiful, glorious, connected moment. So we've been what I call COVID times, and it has taken us in. And I'm going to invite you into the interview of our guest, Kim Lerner. We're going to be together for 4 Mondays, Women Making a Difference on Innerviews. This is a series, and we're going to begin by bringing Kim. So I do have some information that Kim has told me about herself. She started working with and bringing to life the IJKL organization in 1993. Prior to that, she was involved in a company that I'm going to give you the actual name of it. It was the Independent Investigational Review Board. She started it in 1987. She served as chair, co-founder, and also as CEO. She sold the business in 2011. Kim is absolutely passionate about Jewish learning, traveling to Israel. She and her husband love the Napa country in California. Their 2 daughters are out there. They love to visit. And Kim, we're going to get there, because I just, was saying to my daughter in San Francisco, like, I don't know when I'm going to get there, Kimmy, but let's Zoom in the meantime. We did last night. Kim likes to knit and stay fit in her free time. There's a word that was very popular in the 90s. In the early 2000s, it was called work-life balance. I'd like to start there, Kim, on work-life balance. How are you doing this? This is amazing. You have brought whole community together onto Zoom, and you are living a very full life. So tell us about your work-life balance. And I'm laughing.
Wow, the one thing I didn't anticipate, the one thing I hadn't thought about. Fortunately, the work and life are passionately interconnected. It's been a lot of work trying to find the balance to pay attention to my family. And I don't know that I always erred on the side of paying attention to my family, but they've been very patient with me. And I sometimes say that more people have met my mother-in-law than have met my husband. So it's making sure that the things that are important to my family stay important to me and don't get eclipsed by my passion for learning, which...
Let's talk about this passion for learning, because what you have in you is so alive, it's palpable. Anyone who meets you can absolutely feel your commitment, your drive, your essence, the energy of having to do what you do. So tell us, like, where does this come from? What is it?
If you had asked my mother or even my husband for the first 15 years we were married, no one would have anticipated that this would be my life. I think there's always been something inside of me that wasn't satisfied with chocolate, jewelry, successful business, happy family. In a world that on paper looked perfect, there was still something that I was longing for. And I didn't know what it was or where to look until one day, through a whole circuitous story of events, I was sitting at the Hallandale Jewish Center across from Rabbi Akiva Man, and he said, "Oh, you hear a knocking on your heart. You're not the first person, Kim. You're not the first person to experience that."
Wow. He could see it in you? Like, do you feel that he heard it, saw it, felt it? What do you think it was?
His vision, even with his eye, is an inner vision. So, and he's walked the path, and he's led the way on the path, and he said to me, and it's okay, you're not the first person. There have been mystics and masters that have come before you, and there are guideposts, and I can show you the guideposts. He didn't tell me he was going to tell me the answers, but that he would help me to look in the places where the answers or the question, sometimes just the right question is the answer.
So if somebody's listening right now and they too have a feeling that there's something that hasn't been answered, or there is a knock or a call or a whisper or something that gnaws at them, or it's in the silence of the night, they wake up and they hear that feeling that says there's more. What have you learned that you would tell them?
Find for yourself a teacher, and when I say teacher, I mean many teachers, and find for yourself a friend to learn with. And not to get too deep right away, although I think it might be too late.
We're deep. I mean, but why not? We've all been sitting in for 5 or 6 or 7 weeks, and we are steeping in becoming, being.
Sometimes I really love the holy atheist. And I've learned that I don't believe in the same God that they don't believe in.
So tell me more about what it is you're saying, because I'm not sure I understand.
A lot of us develop our idea of what is God when we're 7 years old. And by the time we're 11 years old, it's God is up there judging what you're doing. And what I have, the guideposts that the mystics and the masters have left that has opened my heart is just really different ways of looking at holiness, godliness, an inner sense of our own divinity. And I put in our last e-blast a quote from Zohar that the answer is not that there's a spark of God within us, but all of us is within God. So, which sounds like it doesn't make any sense at all. So come to classes and just start to learn that every time you look in the face of another human being, you really are looking into the face of God. And if you don't, so to treat that person with that same love and awe as you would if you ran into, God on the subway.
So you're talking about compassion, empathy, kindness, the ways in which to see from the inside out, to know something in ourselves that would spark a light that we could then see the world through that lens. Is that what you're suggesting for us?
I think you just, you nailed it, and with such clarity. And just recognizing that the more love that you have for the other, the more you can see their beauty, their struggles, the happier you are.
So I have a question. I guess it's because the word came up, and I think all of us, we are human. We're having this human experience. What are some of the struggles that you have with how you desire to be and experience yourself in the world? I know that's like right in there, but I can't help but ask.
I would love to have infinite patience, and that my own shortcomings would not trip me up. I sometimes feel that one of the reasons that I organize events is to push myself to the edge, where I challenge myself to be patient and be kind, even as I might be juggling multiple events and multiple challenges and multiple demands. You get better at being patient by practice. So IJKL is my laboratory for practicing radical love.
Radical love. I love the way it sounds. Practicing, and you're also aware then one of the areas where you are a work in progress is on being patient. And I didn't hear you say tolerance. Do they go together, patience and tolerance? How are you in that area?
I must be okay.
That's great.
Because it doesn't resonate as a challenge.
You know what you just did? I love it. I want you to know that what you illustrated. I asked you a question and you could have thought no or yet. I watched you pause, check in, feel it, reflect, and then speak out what's true for you. And I think we can all learn from what you just exemplified for us, that sometimes we have to go quiet for a second to be able to hear that inner voice or the inner wisdom or the knower, the KNOW that lives inside. Do you pause? Do you meditate? Do you do yoga? Do you do any of the traditional practices for the calming of yourself, your mind, your being?
I once taught a class on meditation for people that can't meditate.
Okay.
So there's always setting that as a practice before me. If anyone has taken a class with Rabbi Akiva, he role models making every word that you choose mindfully selected. But the more I find that I actually love, the easier it is to be loving.
The more you love, the easier it is to be loving. And so it sounds like it feeds itself, it feeds each other. Now, I just brought up the word feed, and I'm realizing you feed so many people who also have that knock at their hearts. And I'd like you to tell us a little bit about this idea that we are magnets, that we attract people. For example, we have like 80 people who are here and present in this moment who are answering their own call, answering something inside them that's looking for deep and meaningful conversations so that they can grow something inside themselves. So what is it that you feel is brought you to bring yourself to IJKL, to creating the work, the programming, and anything in that arena that you feel is important to share? And let's make sure we let everybody know. They came on through ijkl.org, but there are two places on that website. One is classes and the other one is events. And there's also a newsletter that you send that has great information for different programs. So I just want to mention that as part of what the offerings are. And in this whole thing, COVID-19, how it's speaking to you. So run with it.
Maybe starting at the end and working backwards. One of the things that IJKL has formulated in response to COVID is to add a whole new branch of programming called IJKL Share, with lay leadership of people who wanted more. They wanted who felt that we want to have social connection, social action. So there's an additional layer of programming with movie discussion. We've done, so that's just part of the response to COVID, is that we're recognizing that we're social creatures, we're social animals. We do best when we are engaged emotionally, intellectually, and I just feel it's so good that we have something to listen to that's not 24/7 news. This IJKL is offering an antidote to the news feed, something that is asking us to value the humanity of each of us individually, as well as how we connect. Once upon a time, IJKL was born when I met Rabbi Akiva and wanted to have more classes with him. And it would have been very easy for me just to say, okay, let's just have some private classes and you teach and I learn. And apparently learning requires that we have other people around us. And he was very clear that for learning to be effective, you need a chavruta, you need a community. And we started growing from that very small idea. And within the last year and a half or 2 years, we have taken on the programming that had previously been offered by Orloff Sage, was the provider for Jewish education in Broward County. And for many very valid and excellent reasons and evolution, the Orloff Sage Adult Jewish Education programming merged with the Jewish Federation. And all of the programming went to the Federation, except for adult Jewish education. And Rabbi Arnie Sandlin, who was the executive director of SAGE, approached me and said that we had partnered so often with Orloff Sage, and that our organization has the vessel to carry the programming that had been offered through Orloff Sage. So in that one fell swoop, the range and the options of programming just blew up. And I was very fortunate that Rabbi David Paskin was right there helping create the initial website and the original programming blasting, and was a patient teacher to me. Dr. Sandra Lilienthal immediately came on board to help us create some more of a broader educational forum. And in that moment, IJKL transformed from, somebody once said to me, Kim, you can't be an institute when you only have one teacher. And I thought, right now I'm happy, but the universe was seeing a seed that I hadn't seen. And I do feel that we have broadened the programming, we've deepened the programming and the teachers, and we brought in a whole bunch of new students who were looking for the variations of programming. I look on the Zoom gallery, and so many of you, I know both our friends who learn with Liz and overlap and learn with IJKL. So to see this synergy is very, very exciting. And
I'm having like different awarenesses as you're speaking. One of them is that I've always felt in life, I'm sort of like led along to meet my destiny that's in a way waiting for me. I couldn't have known it was there, but I kept putting one foot in front of the other. And then the opportunity presented itself, and all I had to do was say yes, and then trust. And I think what you're talking about, the macrocosm of an organization or an institute, evolving, blending, meeting with others, I think as individuals, we could see how that's been, for so many of us in our lives, the trajectory of how we've been brought to new experiences, new people, new ventures, new opportunities, new growth, new engagement. And, part of it has to do with being present, saying yes, listening to the inner wisdom. And sometimes some people would say to trust and surrender. Because I would imagine when all of this was rising up for you, you're like, whoa, it sounds like it would be a lot. And yet I'm wondering for you, was there a voice inside? Was there some, like the proverbial yes, the encouragement that gave you the faith? And I don't want to put a word in your mouth, but I want to ask you about, faith, because we need it right now. A lot of us, I wanted to get dressed up and then like go out for dinner tonight. I'm like all dressed up and nowhere to go. But I found out I was going to this Zoom gathering and I'm like, yay. So I'm very happy with where I am. But right now we're needing to know that, big question again, there's a lot within us to draw from. How about that faith and meeting the moment? How do we take what's happening in this moment and extrapolate it so that we can be upright in where we are and where we're going?
I wish I could tell you that I operate from faith. I actually operate from ignorance. my mother.
I'm all ears. I mean, I'm really listening when you say that. I'm like, okay, you've got my attention.
A dear friend of mine asked my mother what I was like as a child, and my mother said, "Oh, she was terrible. It was awful." Many of you have heard the story. It was terrible. It was awful. And like my parents, what are you talking about? And my mother said, well, Kim just never thought of the possible negative consequences of her actions.
So you acted without thinking. You just were pure momentum moving forward, but never thinking about the consequences.
And maybe it's not completely true. I just actually believed that I did do some weighing and measuring, but I don't overthink things. And so maybe that is an inherent sense of faith that if I say yes, the means to accomplish it will appear. As they did when I said yes to Rabbi Samlin and Then Rabbi David and Sandra appeared. I've had just the right people showing up. Recently, I woke up in the middle of the night terrified about what am I going to do with the May programming, and I think I saw Tina Koenig on the screen go by, and she came to me as an answer to my prayers. And I don't even know all of the people who show up. And maybe it's about having eyes to see opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But I started the investigational review board, the medical research company, because my boss walked into the office and she said, "Will someone take this project on?" And I said, "Oh yeah, sure, I will. What is it?" And that was the door that opened, a 20-year business, that was able to successfully sell and move forward and continue. So sometimes it's not over, for me, when I do look to faith, I do say sometimes, surely if God is able to, if the universe can stay together, and there's a force that keeps the universe in from collapsing upon itself, surely this will hold me and support me.
What about your concerns right now for collectively where we are? How are you feeling it, seeing it, sensing it? Of course you have your own inner perspective of the way you are, like your mom saw you. Well, she doesn't think about the consequences. But I have a feeling you have a bigger way of seeing the world. And I'm wondering how you understand where we all are in this moment, just as someone who's of the world. How do you see it?
A quote that I heard from Zohar Raviv, from our Sunday program, Humility and Grandeur. And he said, "We're in the eye of the storm right now, and we have no idea what the aftermath of this is going to look like. And I can look at the world, at the small kindnesses that are being revealed. And I guess that my prayer is that we find a way to realize that the entire world is on the same side of this war with Corona.
Mm-hmm.
And just to pray that all of the countries, all of the people in the US, that somehow the concern for that we work together. That's the test. That's the challenge. Can we see each other as as separate parts of one connected body?
I wonder if that has anything to do with how you presented in the beginning. There isn't a spark of God in me. We're the sparks inside of God. So if we're individuals in this whole of this planet, because we know we saw everyone on this planet in lockdown and in shutdown, and we saw all the roads and all the streets and all the pictures and images of everyone stopping. It's like collectively we now know we're one. We're one connected people and humanity. I think we've all touched into that. And is it possible that in and of itself creates a paradigm shift that opens up new ways of seeing ourselves and the world? And I feel like that's what your prayer is.
And if we don't, it is the end of the world. If we can. But you just reminded me of a teaching that Shema, the watchword of our faith, doesn't mean that there's only one God. It means that there's only one unit, that it is all a unity. There is nothing outside of this unity. And our challenge is to recognize, like slapping your hand because it touched a burner. Bad hand, bad, doesn't work because it's a unity, if that made sense.
So what makes sense is when you say unity, it activates something inside me that makes me feel good, that makes me feel like I'm a part of, that has a sense of whole, connectedness, community, continuity, all the widths that give me exactly what I'm looking for. I'm not with people, but I'm with the connection to the people who I love and I care about. I get onto a Zoom call and I see my friends. I'm comforted in knowing that there's something that unites us in our vision and our choice to come together. I'm a really firm believer in this quote from a philosopher. Her name is Emma Wheeler Wilcox. And she says, thoughts are things endowed with wings. Thoughts are things endowed with wings. And why I love it is because I heard you say a couple times, these are my prayers. And I'm like, prayers are thoughts. And if your prayers, if we collectively have prayers for peace in ourselves and each other, kindness on our planet, our humanity, to feel our unity, if we feed that, are we feeding something that we're creating collectively for our future, which we could see pretty soon? Do you believe in that? Does that resonate for you?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are our hope for the future, and just so much joy to look at the Zoom screen. And I know that there's so many places that all of us could be Zooming now, and that we choose to Zoom where there's Torah being taught. And when I say Torah, I don't necessarily only mean the 5 books of Moses, but wisdom and love is being taught, and community is created, and it just keeps growing, because now we have 2 communities that are learning together and discovering that we really share the same fundamental belief in the goodness. Mm-hmm. And pray and think, give wings to my thoughts of goodness and love and connectedness. And
I can feel you.
Good, because the words left me.
No, you know what? It was very interesting as I witnessed you just now. You were leaving the words behind as you were allowing yourself to be taken over by this feeling. I guess I would call it like joy. I watched it, rise up in you, and that was really beautiful. Look at this. I can see you. I can hear you. I can feel you. There's not much that's really separating us except like all the mishigas that we have in our own minds that gets in the way, that creates separation, or we'll feel like not good enough or unworthy or anxious about the things that we say or think. And I think that's part of the human condition. It happens to everybody. But what's really nice is to witness the same thing that Rabbi Akiva brought to your attention, this knock on your heart that has opened your heart. So tell us a little bit about this heart opening experience. Like, did you really have has your heart been opening? What's that like? I hear it as words. I'm wondering, like, what does that feel like?
Much less anger, much less need for cookies. And it's, I guess, counting the Omer, a lot of the conversation has been about balance. And, I have my challenges. I tend to see in broad strokes of a big picture and can bring it into fruition until until the rubber meets the road. And those final details, there are many people on the screen that know that they have been the one that just, okay, Kim, I have the kitchen. We'll take care of it. So recognizing I have strengths and weaknesses and allowing the people who have the strengths where my weaknesses are to spread their wings and let them help give them the platform to be their best self.
Wow, that's really great. I mean, knowing where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, and being able to ask for help.
Yeah.
That's a really big one, because a lot of us are just trying to juggle and do everything, and being able to say, okay, this is not the area where I excel. I want to thank everyone for being with us. We still have more time. I'd like to invite anyone who has any questions to pop into the chat room, or Marcia and Scott are watching. If somebody wants to go into the participants, you'll see on the bottom, you could actually raise your hand and we could bring you on to ask a question. We have lots of freedoms right now for people to, maybe you've known Kim for 10 years or 12 or 15 or 18 or 20 or 22, and you've like always wanted to ask her something. This is like when you get to do that, like right now, because she's here and with us and committed. So you can type in a question in the chat room, raise your hand, or you can just like wave, hey, hey. In the meantime, I'm Liz Sterling, and we've just started this new series, Innerviews, Women Making a Difference. We'll be together for 4 weeks. Next week, we're going to meet with a musician, a singer, someone.
From Tehillah.
She sounds like someone who helps to heal the soul through music. So I'm very, very excited about her joining us. And her name is Daphne Rosenberg. Daphne Rosenberg. And then the following week, we'll have from a wonderful, extraordinary rabbi and group in New York called Romemu, Rabbi David Ingber's wife, Ariel. They're Jewish Renewal. The energy is beautiful. It's vibrating. It's alive. And we have an opportunity to spend some time with Ariel. I'm so looking forward to that. And then Tirza Firestone. And she really talks about healing our ancestral wounds that have come in, passed down from generation to generation. Like, do you ever feel like you're behaving like someone in your lineage, but it's like not your energy, not your stuff, but it's come from some wound that may not have healed? We're gonna find out about how to recognize it, bring it to awareness. She's a Jungian psychologist, and how to be able to heal that. So I'm really looking forward, and that'll be on June 1st. So we have 4 weeks planned, every Monday from 4 to 5 o'clock on the platform of IJKL, and go to ijkl.org. You can sing it, HIJKLNNOP. You'll know exactly where to go, the Institute for Jewish Knowledge and Learning. And please pop in to read my blogs at askliz.com. And if you have any questions or comments, or you'd like to chat with me or connect, it's liz@askliz.com. And we're coming into the top of the hour. So Marcia, what do we have?
So I don't have chats with the questions in them, but Rick raised his hand. I'm going to unmute him, and then Brenda had her hand up. So when Rick is done, I will unmute Brenda as well.
Thank you. Hi, Richard. We're almost able to hear you. Yeah. Maybe unmute.
I am on
There
here.
you go.
Okay.
You're here.
Now it's got all these things on here. I was just wondering for Kim, if the combination of all this work with both Zohar and his sister and the 3 Israeli holidays, if they have imparted you on thinking about planning another Israel trip.
I'm always thinking about another Israel trip. And for those who haven't had the experience, IJKL has taken 5 groups, 5 trips to Israel, kind of almost every other year. And there's always 2 layers of programming for people who've never been to Israel. And there have been people on the trips who have been on, multiple people on the trip who have been on 2, 3, and 4 of the trips. So we always need to add new components of experience, and tends to be meeting really fun, interesting Israelis is what makes the trip so special. The trip that I'm dreaming of is to go during Sukkot and just to have the experience of learning in the different Sukkotim. Is there, Annette, did I see you? What's the plural for I guess for sukkahs?
Sukkah is
But these
singular,
are-
Sukkot
I
is
think-
plural.
What's the plural for sukkahs? In the sukkah of different friends and families, and where our teachers will teach there. Sandra Lilienthal has promised a trip with IJKL. So we're going to look forward to that. Thank you. May it be soon that we're all
And you
traveling.
know, right now, I realize I don't have the ability to see that yet. I haven't seen that feeling of safe for travel on a plane, long distance. But I feel like we're beginning to come to the time that we're starting to at least envision that we will have an outside life again, interacting and mingling with our friends and our families. I have to hold that as what we'll be able to do. So I'm very excited because I read in your biographical information that you love creating these trips to Israel. And I know Israel is the most special place in the world. I had a chance to go and I'd love to go again. And I'm sure others would be interested.
It'll be
So-
fabulous. And then also, we will all be learning in new ways. I had the feeling that IJKL needed to be transforming its platform. It was, you can't stay in a 1980s model and survive. I didn't expect to be overnight converting our entire curriculum. And I'm very proud that we were the first organization to go all Zoom on March 12th.
Wow, that's
And
great.
but-
Could we bring Brenda on before if she has a question or a comment? Brenda comes from the Wisdom Circle at the JCC Family Center.
You?
So
Am
I think
on?
you're open, Brenda, yes.
Yeah, can you hear me? Well, first of all, thank you both. It was such an inspiring, wonderful interview. And Kim, I have to say, I identified with your quest that you started this whole thing out. My quest came much later in life, but I was also on a quest, and I found Liz, who has absolutely changed my life for me. And I just wanted to say that. Thank you both.
Find teachers that open your heart, that answer the knock, or at least show you the guideposts.
And I wanted to just say one more thing. Liz had Rabbi Akiva come to one of our sessions, and I was mesmerized by that man. I loved him. He was sensational.
then.
Indeed. Kim, do you think we could make a commitment that you can ask Rabbi Akiva if he'll join us on air and we can have an interview with him, just like we're doing this now?
I think we can talk. I think between the pair of us, we can talk him into it. And we would like to find more programming, a home for the Wisdom Circle if you're ever looking for bandwidth. And Rabbi, anyone who came through Wisdom Circle, I offer you to try out our classes and be in touch with me if anything resonates. We have a monthly class pass for $36, and you can attend all of the programming. And for Wisdom Circle, talk to me and we'll give you a deal.
Oh, yes, of course. There's got to be a deal.
Who's got a deal? Give me a call.
You're so funny. I can't believe, Brenda, when you said that, thank you so much. My mouth fell open. I'm sure if anybody saw, I went, oh, you touched my heart so deeply. I also was resonating with what you said. And Kim, I've been a seeker. My innate curiosity turned me into an interviewer so that I could ask the questions that are on my mind and help to put all these puzzle pieces of life together. And I realized it's something that we're doing collectively. We're showing up. We're able to sense and feel each other. We're learning. We're here to grow, to have meaningful conversation and discussion. I love that some people became part of the conversation, but we're wrapping up. And what's most important is to let everybody know that we are recording. Kim, I do believe that this will be available. Friends, tell friends, tell friends. Let them know that we'll be here every Monday for the next 3 weeks. We're going to take off for Memorial Day, and we'll be back again to explore. Recommend people who you feel are interesting, because I would love to find out what their inner view is, which is the name of the program. So Kim, will we be recording? And what we're going to do is leave with this final question, and that is, if there was like one thing that you could teach everyone in the world, if you could wave a magic wand and everyone would know or learn or have the experience of something, what would that be? So we'll leave it in your hands to bring that to light. And our recording, let everybody know about that too.
Be kind. Just be kind. It's hard. Everything is, at best of times, it's hard. And we just never know, what pain people carry and what differences that we can make without even knowing it. What are the ripples that you never know are sometimes the most important that you leave in your wake. And the ripples of kindness are beyond imagination.
I can feel that. I can feel not only the ripples, but as you were saying that, first of all, your look was like you were imploring in the most loving way for each and every one of us to touch into kindness. And I have to tell you, I know you were talking to me and it was like, Liz, be kind to you. And then you'll know what kindness is. And sometimes it's hard to do that, but you do it. And then you can carry that kindness to others. They'll feel it because it comes from the inside out. And when you gave us that expression of that please, like a plead, it made me feel that it's worth it. It's really, really worth it. And we're worth it. So.
And I want every single person who I don't know who's not already getting IJK emails to sign up, to send me an email, register for the class, because we're all seekers and we're going to grow together. And we need to create a lot of seismic energy of of belief in in that goodness.
You know, I chose a spot to sit in today that I've never been in before, but I like the feeling of the bookcase. But the whole time we've been speaking, the light of the sun has been entering the window. And now it's like reflecting off of my computer on the metal on it. And it's hot here, but it's the sun. It's our life force. And it's speaking to me, and it's saying that we're giving life by being together. And you have given us not only an inside look, but you've knocked on our hearts, answered the call for many, opened up the doors, shined a bright light, made an invitation. So I'm so glad that wait, Carol Burnett, let me pull my hair.
and the light shining on you looks so
time.
beautiful. The light on you is gorgeous.
Thanks. Well, I feel, look, you could see the sun is coming in. So Kim at ijkl.org is for email, Kim at ijkl.org. And also the recording will be available how and where?
If you go to ijkl.org, so the home page, home has the button that you come into classes on. And then right next to it is a button that says videos. And there's a picture of the class with a few words about what it is. And then buttons that you can click. So all of the button will say Liz and Kim.
Perfect. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody knows where to go, what to do. I'm Liz Sterling. You can meet me online at askliz.com. And if you want to kibitz, chat, schmooze, just send me a quick email and we'll get together to do that. And that's Liz at askliz.com. This is the first of our series, Innerviews, Women Making a Difference. And we'll be back same time next week, 4 o'clock on Monday. Kim, wow.
Thank you. Thank you for making me look so lovely.
You did it on your own. You have it. Marcia, thank you for your help. Scott, great. Everything went really smooth for those who are with us. Be blessed. Stay safe. And we'll see you again next week. Thanks. Bye.